Hello there, folks, and welcome to TK Live for Tuesday, March the 30th. Welcome in. Matt and I are back down here in the studio, and we're going to do what we always do. We try to do every other week, which is talk about pickup trucks. And there's actually loads of news this week.
A lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about, so we'll jump into the news. I think right off the bat, Matt, let's kick off the show. And you know what? We need all you guys out there to help us wishing our dad a happy birthday. Today's Dad's birthday. He actually just got back from his big epic trailering trip down south. So he'll be back on the live show and back on the channel more soon. But for now, yeah, wish Papa Truck King a happy birthday. And I'm sure he's out there and he's listening.
Officially the retirement age.
I wasn't going to say it.
Is he gonna stop? No.
No, he's never going to retire. You don't need to retire when you do what we do. He's going to be trucking forever. So yeah, guys, let's jump into it. Like I mentioned, TK Live, it's all about truck news. We like to talk about the latest in the world of pickup trucks, what's going on, and then what's going on with us, what we're testing, what we're up to, and then whatever we've been kind of working on over the last couple of weeks. So thanks for all the happy birthdays rolling in. We appreciate that, guys. Keep them coming. Like I said, I'm sure he will see them all. So yeah, Matt, why don't we jump into our first bit of news? Yeah. I think most people have probably seen it if you've been paying attention on the internet.
We've even covered it once.
Yeah, this was a big deal, and it's the Tacoma. Everyone knows that the new Tacoma is coming, and now finally, Matt, we have actual teasers from Toyota showing us the new truck. They don't really show off a lot, but let's go over the teasers, and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. So we're going to go ahead and start right here. This was the first teaser they showed off, Matt. It's a silhouette. It's really far in the distance. It's, again, not really revealing much. It looks kind of like a boxy little stout mid-sized truck, a little bit Tundra-ish with the kind of sharp angles. But there's also just straight up not a lot you can see in this picture, right?
It's the front and the back that got it for me in this image, especially compared to those... and this might even lead into your next image, the patent drawings we saw out of Brazil, it really stuck to that hard, angular, flat front. So I don't think we're going to go too far afield from that original sketch that we saw.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. So I see Orange over there in the comments saying, new Tacoma, when? Well, that should be answered by the next one. So here's the next teaser. This is actually a double-wide photo, so we'll get to the other half of it. But first... this truck you're looking at here is, of course, it's a modern Tacoma. It's not the next Tacoma. But, Matt, on the license plate, it says 040423, which feels like a very obvious... very obvious reference to April 4th, 2023, which is next week. That's next Tuesday.
Yep.
So that's a big deal, actually. We didn't know when we were going to see the truck, but if this one is to be believed... we're going to see this Tacoma next week, which is very exciting. And again, if I'll be honest, that's sooner than I thought we'd be seeing it.
Yeah, we've had a few people at Toyota tease us with, it's coming, even so much as to give us a very stern talk about a certain event coming up in May, which I think we can talk about, but we'll talk about later. So we know it's coming when it's very close, but to see the date all of a sudden, like, that's a date.
Yeah.
That's a hard date on that plate.
It's hard to say, and like I can't imagine what else 423 could possibly be referring to. I don't know, 4.4 liter engine with 230 horsepower? No way. I'm just pulling at straws.
4 batteries, 4 electric motors, and 23 kittens per 100 kilometers.
I don't think so. Okay, so now let's get to the third one, and this one's maybe the funniest one. So this is just the second half of that photo you just saw. And there's two things in this photo you need to pay attention to. So the first one is down there in the very bottom right-hand corner. And here, I'll actually do you guys a favor, the viewers. I'll blow it up for you. Ready? Here it comes. See that little blurred truck? Assumably, that blurred truck is the next Tacoma. Now, it actually looks a lot like that concept they showed us, that EV concept. But it also looks kind of like those patent drawings that we saw. Yep. So again, it looks like it, but it still doesn't reveal all that much.
And then is this also the same image that has the patent office tongue-in-cheek gag?
Exactly. So let me show you guys again. I'm just going to bring the picture back, fit to screen. So this time, pay attention to the top left-hand corner. Up there on the building, they actually wrote Brazilian Patent Office, which is a little tongue-in-cheek reference to the fact that the Tacoma already leaked and all the news outlets chalked it up to the Brazilian Patent Office. So here's the thing I don't know yet, Matt. I don't know if they're saying that the media actually got it right and that the Brazilian Patent Office leaks were legit, or if they simply put Brazilian Patent Office up there on the building to kind of make fun of us that the media jumped on this story from the Brazilian Patent Office.
You guys got it wrong.
Yeah, I actually get the feeling that's more of what it is. You know what? For reference, too, I actually grabbed the alleged Tacoma patent. I'll throw it up here. So here's the Tacoma patent. You know what? They can tell me it's wrong all they want. This looks pretty similar to what we just saw in the silhouette and that front end.
The silhouette especially. Like I said, it's got that hard front, flat front on it, and you can see the contours in the light in that silhouette photo too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not going to be too far off what we're staring at right now.
Yeah, I really think so as well. Which, you know what, is not too far off from what the current Tacoma looks like either. You know, they're not going crazy with it, and I think that's fine. With truck design especially, you don't have to go revolutionary. Evolutionary's good, especially with the best-selling truck. When you got a bestseller, you know the formula already works, so don't mess with it too much, right? So I see a couple comments there just about what the truck's going to be. We don't know the details, is the first thing I'll say, but of course there's so much information out there already, people talking about it, speculating.
Yeah.
I believe it's going to be 4-cylinder hybrid. That makes the most sense. They have that powertrain already in a Lexus model.
Yeah, the turbo 4-cylinder with the hybrid option.
Yeah, that one just seems to fit the package the best. And then again, look what Chevy just did. Only turbo 4s. Ranger's only been turbo 4 for a while.
Yeah.
We're going that way. I don't see a V6 coming back. Again, that's just me talking. But we're gonna have to wait and see. But turbo 4 hybrid, almost definitely.
If they got crazy and crammed the Tundra drivetrain into that thing.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it can happen. But, like, it would be... The packaging's there. It would fit. In my head, I'm like, yeah, it would work.
It would be super cool.
They'd be just... It's not Toyota to overlap. They'll overlap themselves in vehicle sales strategies, but not in powertrain options.
Yeah, listen, I would love that. I will be happy. I will be totally content if we get the manual, Matt. And that's something that we kind of have a bit of a hint that it is going to be there. We can't confirm anything. I wish we could. But if they leave the manual, I won't complain about the truck, I promise.
Yep.
Because there's no real business case for it anymore. So any company that's keeping the manual around, they're not doing it to save money. They're doing it because they appreciate enthusiasts or they themselves are enthusiasts. So yes, I think they're going to keep the manual, and I hope they do.
It makes sense. I mean, it is a global platform. And North Americans, do we buy manuals? Not really.
No.
But there are certain portions of Europe, South Africa, Australia South America, that will still purchase the manual transmission truck.
That's a good point, and maybe that's it. If they're already doing the work on the manual, well, if you have it, bring it here. The thing I love about it today is it's also not just like a work truck option, because that happened for a while too. You can get a manual TRD Pro. You can get the most fun package with the most fun transmission, which is the way it should be, right? And if they pull out of the manual market too, we'll be left with just Jeep Gladiator, just one. And that's no fun. We need at least 2 manual trucks to compare, right? So
Josh has the same complaint that you have about every Tacoma ever.
The seating
position.
This is finally a true chance for them to change the seating position. Because in 2016, when the truck was all new, well, again, they didn't really change the frame.
No.
And unless you really change the frame, you're just not going to get enough space. And just for the record, my issue with the Tacoma seating position is that your butt is too close to the floor, your legs are too tall up, and yet I'm still looking through the top of the windshield. So you feel like you're laying down in it, but you're still up tall. Again, I'm 6'2", 300 pounds. I know I'm a big guy, but it's just a strange seating position. So fingers crossed too that they fix that, or at least address it somewhat and make it a little bit more, I'd say, livable, right? Because I fit better in other mid-sized trucks, and that one just doesn't work for me. Okay, yeah, and actually I guess the last point I'll make there, Matt, is, and maybe this is obvious, but if you want a V6 manual Tacoma, go get one right now.
Yeah.
These are always these things, right? In the last generation, you're getting an engine which is well sorted. It's been around for a while. You shouldn't have issues with it. And, if you want the V6, you're not going to get the next truck. So There you go.
Just to be safe.
Get one now. I appreciate someone else realizes that Tacoma seats are the worst. Because I always complain about it, and then all the Tacoma owners usually get mad at me. And I get it, right? Like 200,000 people last year chose the Tacoma, and they can't all be uncomfortable all the time. But anyways, I'll throw it out there.
I owned a Tacoma, and yeah, I lived with it. I wasn't certainly going to rant. I wasn't going to rant and rave about how luxurious that truck was.
It was a true base model too, your Tacoma.
Oh, mine was, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Somebody just commented, guys, you realize that Bilstein
Urban Ops
will be announcing something big on 04/04/23 in Moab. I didn't.
No, I didn't know that.
That's news
either.
to me, so we're going to punch her into the old Google-merator here.
Because, yeah, that would be cool too, right? Maybe a partnership with Bilstein. Although, previous Toyotas were always Fox shocks, right? All the way around when they did the TRD Pro stuff.
Yeah.
So if they were to pull away from Fox and go with go with Bilstein, that'd be a big deal.
Suspension and then the date?
Short course. No, I don't see anything on the Bilsteins. Anyways, interesting point. Yeah, maybe that'll be part of it. It's hard to say. Because, I think that date's too early for Tacoma. They kept making it feel like it'd be further out. But for Toyota to tease just a Bilstein announcement, I don't know. It seems weird to me. So, anyways, I guess April 4th, we're going to figure it out, huh?
Unless they've got some kind of crazy new Multimatic-esque suspension system that they're going to be putting into the Tacoma. And they're just going to show it off with a spy-wrapped truck or something weird.
Who knows? Or it's just going to be like a concept, like what Ram just did with that EV, roll out a concept a month or two
and then
before
3 days later show us the production model.
Or maybe a concept EV. I saw a couple people in the comments too saying maybe Tacoma EV. Well, maybe they'll roll out an all-electric concept and then roll out the new truck later on. Yeah, interesting. Going to be interesting, no doubt. All right, Matt, well, let's move on to our next story, because like I said, there's lots of news. Hopefully you guys saw it out there, but we actually just put up a full video just this morning, actually at midnight, on the new Moab Easter Jeep Safari concepts. So you just brought up Moab there. Easter Jeep Safari is happening next week. For all of those of you who don't know, that's when literally thousands of Jeep enthusiasts, they all descend on the tiny town of Moab, Utah. And when you're at Moab, not at Easter Jeep Safari, there's not a lot going on, Matt. It's a little sleepy town.
Yeah.
It really is. And then during Easter Jeep Safari, it's insane. It's just wall-to-wall crazy Jeeps. And what Jeep does, and this is to their credit, because I don't see a lot of other brands doing stuff like this. They go to Easter Jeep every year, and they bring at least 7 different, they call them concepts, but really they're one-off test builds, I'd even say.
Yeah.
Because what they're doing is they're putting things in front of their enthusiasts and then saying, what do you think? What do you think of that style? What do you think of those custom doors, that bumper, that hood?
It's solid market research.
It's exactly that. It is market research.
The guys that buy it, and what do they want?
In real time. And then again, credit Jeep, because these things actually run. They actually go to Moab and climb rocks with them. They let journalists and even some of the public drive them. So they're not hiding behind the prototype banner. They really get out there and do it. So yeah, I think it's, I love what they do. I've been out there, I think, twice with Jeep. So I've even had a chance to drive some of these concepts. And they're really amazing. It's fun when you let these guys just loose. Turn them loose, let them go, let their imaginations run wild. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these super cool Easter Jeep concepts. And we're going to go ahead and start with this Cherokee, Matt.
Sure.
Because it's probably one of the coolest ones. And it's another thing that they always do. They always like to do at least one resto mod. Yeah, let me see here. Let me see if I can get the pictures working now.
The Cherokee, this was the one, I'll just start kind of rambling here while you're digging up a photo.
Sure, yeah.
The Cherokee was the one that was based on the original version, was it not? It was a classic Cherokee that they've then restored and kind of dolled up with some modern parts, some modern aspects to it, to just try and kind of make it something new out of something that was old. And like you said, every year they seem to trot out, the early 90s YJs, or not YJs, oh my God, I'm going to Don't yell at me, Jeep fans.
No, yeah, YJ's.
YJ's, was that early 90s?
Yeah.
Not TJ's? TJ's was late 90s.
Right, yeah, YJ's
okay.
80s into early 90s,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
TJ's early 90s.
I'm trying to sound smart. Give me a sec.
Oh, man, especially with Jeeps.
So
many of
much.
the guys are so into it, you got to know your stuff. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm having a technical difficulty here. I got all my photos prepped, and now they just don't want to appear for some strange reason. It's like I moved them around or something. So just bear with me real quick. But yeah, the Wagoneer that we're talking about, it's a resto mod, and they always do at least one resto mod, Matt. Yeah. Which, again, it's just a fun idea. Why not take something old, make it new again, show off basically what you are capable of doing, and that's what they always do. Yeah, Liam just said it. You got to hand it to the Jeep enthusiast community. They have serious dedication. They really do. These guys, they love what they do. And the other thing that I think is cool at Stellantis is that they actually, if you touch a Jeep, if you work on any Jeep, if you designed a door handle, they try to take you out to Moab, because then you actually really get a taste for it. You understand what those people are actually like, what the Jeep community is like, what they really care about. And that's another smart thing, you know, why not have everyone involved sort of understand, you know, the end goal, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry here. I just got to pull these photos real quick. I just had a bit of a problem. So
that's all right. We'll do a couple of questions here. This one's a little far afield, so hold tight on the Jeep stuff. It's coming. Tom asked if we will test drive the Cybertruck when it finally gets released. The short answer is no.
No, Tesla doesn't do media.
Tesla doesn't do media. They don't care what people think of their products. Plus, I think people buy them, consume them, and talk about them so much, they don't need us. That's the bottom line. Because everybody goes on about how much they love their cars. They're willing to talk about it, write about it even. You know, it's the same problem in certain power sports genres or different veins where, you know, we can't get a footing in the snowmobile or the dirt bike world because there's guys out there that have already bought the newest models and they're just like, oh yeah, I'll write about that for free. Yeah, and we're over here trying to scrape a living off those rocks, so we can't really afford to do that for free.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, don't get us wrong. We would love to test a Cybertruck. I got nothing against it, right?
Yeah, I would love to.
With Tesla, it's never usually an option. And I will just put out there, too, because the other question we get asked a lot about is Rivian. Rivian was late launching in Canada. They only launched in about the fall of last year. So we have a word in, and we've actually talked to them, which is nice. They responded.
Yeah.
So they said, yes, we'd love to get you one. Let us get some more units in Canada. It sounds like it was a pretty slow launch coming up here north of the border. So we're giving them a chance, but we're going to keep on bugging them and try to get our hands on a Rivian.
Well, and as long as we're still talking electric trucks, Dad and I had a good chat with the folks at GMC when we were down there driving the Hummer. And we are working with them to try and get our hands on a Hummer EV truck because we still haven't had one. We've had the SUV now,
right,
but we still haven't had the truck, and we would still love to take it up the hydro line, left hook, put a trailer behind it. I would love to see how it stacks up to the TRX in our 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 runs with the 7,000-pound trailer.
Hopefully you guys watched our video on the Hummer where Matt and Dad took it off-road. They took it into some real mud. But GMC wouldn't let them drive. They were worried. And they didn't let any journalist drive. No. And once they say no to one, they have to say no to everybody. But that was, of course, like looking at it going, guys, we drive in this stuff all the time. So like Matt just said, I can't wait to get it back
Their
home.
course was definitely waterlogged. It was definitely technical. It's nothing that we could not have done.
Yeah.
Dad or I would have been fine.
Yeah.
To the same point though, by the end of that day, there was a couple sections, and I know there was one piece there where we were driving through the middle, and you could see a piece of wood come up from underneath. That wasn't put there. It was just so deep. They didn't know it was there until the mud, and we ate through the mud and got down to it.
I didn't know
because I asked them that. I said, "Did you guys support this course?" And they were like, "No." There was just these old leftover beams in the dirt from this farm field that we had taken over for the day. It's insane.
Yeah. If you guys missed that video, make sure you go watch it. It's worth seeing.
Well, I can put the link up here. So
yeah, sure. You go ahead.
Making it
we're back in business.
We're back in business. Okay.
Yeah. I've grabbed them all the important ones anyway. So yes, let's take a look at some Jeeps, shall we? So we'll start off here. And I already said this, I'm going to say it again. We have a full video. I'm not going to dig into every little detail because there are lots of details here. We're just going to do big picture. Let's talk about some Jeeps.
I will give you guys Easter Jeep right this second, and you can watch it for yourselves when this is done. Stay with us. Don't watch till the end, but I'll put the link up.
So yeah, this is that super cool Cherokee. Now, man, what they actually do is what you're looking at here is actually a Wrangler Rubicon 4xe, and they take the Cherokee body and they marry it onto the 4xe chassis. So everything here is modern day powertrain, modern day electronics, but then of course you just got the old school body. And this thing, I mean, it's just dripping in super cool kind of 70s style. I love the hood on it. It's got that really cool grille on it. Yeah, just for styling, I mean, this one takes the cake. And you know what, Matt? They actually went out and bought this off of Craigslist, like you or I would, you know? I think that's also pretty cool that the guys at Jeep, they find their vehicles in the same way that we find our vehicles, except for that they can take them into their studio, scan the full thing, create a CAD rendering, and then make custom parts for it. So.
Yeah, their budget might be a little more friendly to builds like this.
A little bit. So there you go. That's the super cool resto mod. Next up is right here. That is what they're calling the Scrambler concept. So the Scrambler was Jeep's first convertible pickup truck, and this is a callback to that. So what you're looking at here is a Wrangler. They've taken the body, they chopped off the back end, they made it into a two-door, but it's got that long wheelbase, and then it's got a little pickup truck bed on the back. Plus, they chopped down the windshield and they raked it a little bit more. So it's just all about styling, kind of hot rod style. I think it looks pretty cool.
Was the Cherokee, what platform was that? Was that its original chassis?
No.
Somebody asked.
Sorry, so the Cherokee is based on a Wrangler Rubicon 4xe.
Okay.
So it's riding right on a 4xe
That's
chassis.
what I thought you said. Sorry.
It's basically, they just take the body from that Cherokee and they made it to a modern chassis.
Yeah.
And you or I could do that, but there's no easy way to do it. What you're looking at here is totally custom.
Yeah.
They crawl around these things, they make all the custom mounts they need to, and then they go from there. So next up, Matt, is this beauty, and this one's got a bit of a funny story with it. Let me just get it up here.
It's the same color as the one in the driveway.
There we go. So, Matt, in 2021, Jeep brought out a color called Tuscadero Pink. And Tuscadero Pink, they figured they'd sell 5,000 units, and then demand went through the roof. They wouldn't tell us how many, but they told us it was a lot more than 5,000. So they kind of put their toe in the water, and they thought, are people really going to buy a from-the-factory pink Jeep? And the answer is yes. So now they've brought out this color. It's not totally pink. They actually called it chromatic magenta, which is a bit of a mouthful. It's an interesting color, and the whole idea here, again, is just to see, will people bite? Are people going to like it? Would they pay for this color right from the factory? And based on their experiment with Tuscadero Pink, the answer is yes.
There are Starbucks parking lots and white girls everywhere that will buy that.
Yeah, you are probably correct about that. The ladies will probably love
and that. Before you jump to the next one, it ties into this comment here.
Sure.
Talking about the 4xe as being the top selling plug-in hybrid in the USA, and it is.
It is, yeah.
Because Jeep is so popular and they sell so many, and it was just such a natural thing to put the plug in.
Yeah.
So it's insane how well that platform has done.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it makes sense, and I'll just touch on this. I touch on it every week. Why isn't it in a pickup truck yet?
Yep.
The fact that they didn't put that in a Ram doesn't make any sense to me. Like, the success of the Wrangler suggests that it would have worked well. But
Yep.
anyways, there you go. So yeah, on to the next one.
We got e-torque.
Yeah.
E-torque's good enough.
You guys might have seen it there real quick. This is the Grand Wagoneer Overland concept. And the big deal here is truly what's on the roof. That thing is called the Sky Loft, and it's hard-sided, man. It's not a tent. It's actually like a little pop-up,
it's got panels,
camper, right?
Folding panels.
It's carbon fiber panels, which actually fold, and it has a pass-through into the Jeep below it. So they did say in the press release they had to customize the sunroof by moving it.
Yeah, of
so
course.
they literally cut a hole in the roof. But that thing, you can actually stand in the back of your Wagoneer, stand up, and you stand up into your Skyloft. It makes the Wagoneer the downstairs, and it makes the Skyloft the upstairs.
So if you pull into your campsite for the night, and it's raining,
you don't have to get out of your vehicle.
You don't even have to get out of the truck.
Exactly. In this picture, you can just see at the very bottom, that's down into the vehicle. So you stand up, you pop it up. It's got a solar panel. It also has heating and air conditioning. So you're fully HVAC'd up there, plus a 6-foot-long bed that you're looking at. It's cool, man. It's a really cool piece of camping kit. And it's premium, and that's sort of what they were going for because the Grand Wagoneer is premium.
Yeah. And just to circle back to what you said about having to move the sunroof.
Yeah.
Does it still have a sunroof? Because you'd just be staring at the bottom of the tank.
It's a great question. They just said it's like a custom sunroof. To me, that means that maybe not. Maybe they just took the glass out of there. But the only other thing I'll say here, which is cool, Matt, is those are 35-inch tires without a lift. Now, Jeep said they had to cut. So they did cut into those wheel wells and they cut the fenders bigger, but they didn't want to go for a lift on this thing. And I think that's actually kind of cool that they fit the 35s on there with no lift, although they did have to hack into the fenders.
Yeah, that's quite a lift to just put the bigger tires on there.
Well, yeah, the tires give it an inch and a half by themselves.
Exactly. I was going to say, just think about how the Grand Wagoneer sits by itself without those.
Totally. But yeah, no, I think it's a good look too. It's just, it's a handsome looking Jeep. So what else do we got here? We're almost through all these concepts now. Of course, I do need to go get the most important one because there's lots to talk about here. This is Jeep Magneto, and this is what they call Magneto 3.0. And they call it 3.0 because this is the third time they've brought it to Moab. We've been talking about Magneto for 3 years
We've
now.
just seen it. They just paint it a different color every year.
They keep updating it. They change the way it looks, and then they change some things inside. And actually, again, they come out, they don't even call it a concept. They straight up say, this is a test bed. This is a true test vehicle. And the idea here isn't range, and it's not charge times. The idea is, what does electric do for off-roading? Does electric make my Wrangler better off-road? Or does it make my Wrangler worse off-road? And how can we maximize it? So that's truly what this is all about. It is sitting on 40-inch tires, so it's on some big old 40s. The things they did for this year, they upped the power. So it has 950 pound-feet of torque and like 600 and something horsepower.
Jesus.
Although they also did something else which is interesting. They gave it a 2-stage power switch. So now you can run it at 260 horsepower and then flick the switch and it goes up to the 600 horse. And
like a high-low button,
basically? Literally a high-low. So you can keep the low power to maximize your range or hit it. They call it full beans mode. Give it full beans and you get all of that crazy power. The other thing which is exciting about Magneto is that it's hooked to a 6-speed manual. They didn't take out the manual. They didn't take out the transfer case. They just married it to an electric powertrain. And I love talking about this because the idea of it is cool, right?
Yeah.
You can't stall. So imagine that you could start the vehicle in third gear, just put it in gear, lift your foot off the clutch, and then drive, right? It's like on regular automatic. It's just that you pre-selected that gear ratio. Then, when you're off-road, put it in first. You're going to get the regenerative braking plus the gear reduction from first, plus if you're in 4-low. The way they describe it is you can park on the steepest hill you can find, and you have to throttle to go downhill because the thing just holds itself there. So it's going to be that truly one-pedal drive experience. And then talk about finesse, man, if you're going real slow down the trail. I think that's super cool. And the gear selection, actually, Mark Allen, the head of Jeep Design, said something interesting. He said, the problem with the manual is there's actually too many gears. With this EV powertrain, 3 gears would be enough.
Would be plenty.
Yeah, you don't need all 6. But I love that idea of the electric manual, and I'm hoping that in the future we see something like that.
Gotta put the transmission into the big green runs. You need the farmer's low first, and then the 3-speed. Oh my goodness,
it would be such low gearing.
How long until the very first one comes into the dealership with? Why couldn't I just start it in 6th? I put it in 6th and dropped the clutch and burnt the crap out of it.
I'm worried about axle shafts in the land of EVs. You know what I mean? So many guys are going to turn up their EVs and axles are just going to be popping everywhere.
Now, given this is a manufacturing defect, but look at Toyota with the BZ4X snap and drive shafts. To be frank, I stuck my head under that Hummer and looked at those shafts because I was like, that Watch to Freedom is going to twist and snap a few of these. They're beefy, but not what I expected. I expected more.
Yeah, how many times can you really do that stuff?
Yeah, until it's so stressed, exactly.
It seems that way. So yeah, that's it for the Jeeps. There was 2 other ones that were put together by Jeep Performance Parts. They're cool, but they're less interesting because they don't they don't show off the cool concept stuff.
Yeah. So
I'll just show the one picture here of all the vehicles.
One last thing I just wanted to say about the Magneto there.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
It's interesting that they've brought it 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Because part of me feels, when you said that, I didn't remember. So part of me was like, this is just them doing their field market research to literally go, okay, guys, hey, we built this electric Jeep. Is this the year? Is this the year? Okay, we'll come back next year. Is this the year? Are we ready now?
We're going to see. Now, the one thing you do have to remember is they did reveal that Jeep Recon. So they do have a fully electric off-roader coming next year. But the Recon, I mean, it looks like a bigger Compass, let's be honest. It's not a Wrangler.
No.
So they're calling it an off-roader. It is a Jeep. I'm sure it will be better off-road than a comparable crossover.
Yeah.
But it's not a Wrangler, right? And I'm excited for the day that we do get the electric Wrangler. We're actually in a Wrangler 4xe right now. I was driving it today. And it's a pretty nice package. I'm a fan. So yeah, I'm excited for electric too.
Yeah. So sorry, last slide. Sorry, I just wanted to add that. It made me laugh when I thought about it.
No worries. Yeah, no, this is just all the Jeeps out there in Moab. And I think the last thing I'll say, and maybe I got this point across off the top, is that Moab is amazing. If you get the chance to go, please go. It's absolutely beautiful. The trails are cool. Don't get me wrong, and there's some really tough stuff. There's also some really easy stuff. If you just want to go cruise in probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been off-road, I can't recommend Moab highly enough. The people are awesome. And sure, there's a little bit of the Jeep, rubbing the Toyota guys, ribbing the whoever else guys, the side-by-side guys. But everyone is nice, honestly. You don't have to show up in a Jeep. You're just fine in just about any rig you bring there. So, yeah, the Easter Jeep Safari is awesome. If you can go. All right, so why don't we move to our next piece of news, which is also electric news.
It's been a busy week.
There has been a lot of news. And we'll start here. This is not much to look at, but I'll show it to you anyways. This is currently how Ford's new Blue Oval City looks. Yes, Ford is working on a brand new electric-specific plant. So this plant is in West Tennessee. And it's going to begin producing vehicles in 2025. It's 3,600 acres, Matt, so it's pretty dang big.
Yeah.
And I guess the big deal is that they announced the plant. I mean, they've announced it for a while. We knew it was there. But what they just announced is that we are going to get a new truck that they're calling the T3, and it's going to be built at Blue Oval City. No details on it yet, but here's the basics. When Ford decided to go electric with the truck, they just put an electric powertrain into an F-150 and called it the Lightning, right? They didn't have to change the frame or the body panels, any of that. Well, a couple body panels.
Yeah.
But with this is a ground-up, clean sheet design electric truck, more like what Ram and like what Chevy did. So Ford's T3, which stands for Trust the Truck. That's what T3 is. It's not Terminator 3. It's Trust the Truck.
T-cubed?
Yes.
T3? Okay, yeah, okay, I'll follow.
So yeah, this is going to be their first ground-up electric truck built in West Tennessee. We don't have any details on it, but I can give you a little bit more on the actual plant on Blue Oval City. They're calling Blue Oval City the modern-day Rouge River plant. And the whole concept behind Henry Ford's Rouge River plant was we're going to do everything in one place. We're going to, pour the engine blocks. We're going to make the glass, make the sheet metal, and put it all together all in the same place. And that's what they're working on here. So as part of their 3,600 acres, there's going to be a full battery production facility. So they're going to build the batteries on site and then stick them right in the vehicles right there on site.
Interesting that they brought SK in to produce them on site. Ford is typically notorious for, we'll just do it ourselves. So, I mean, it's good because SK is one of the few distributors out there that has very few issues overall with their production. I mean, F-150 Lightning, one caught on fire, recall issued. There's only 18 units, 1/8, that are actually need to be repaired, which, somebody fell asleep at the line. Weirder things have happened. So, but overall, their production has been flawless thus far. So that's really interesting to hear that they're bringing them into that project.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll throw up one more slide here. It's just got some numbers on it about Blue Oval City. And then the next thing I want to say is they're doing two interesting things that caught my eye. First of all, they're going to have what they call an upfit center, capable of adding dozens of Ford's most popular features, such as a robotically installed spray and bed liner, integrated toolboxes, so things that you might get from the accessories catalog that are then dealer installed. It sounds like they're going to do even more of that stuff at the factory.
Okay.
And I think especially for pickup trucks, people add so much to their pickup trucks that they want to take a bite out of that business, right? So they're going to do it for me right there. And then this one just caught my eye because I think it's funny. To help reduce traffic congestion, the campus will also have an on-site Lowe's store supplying building materials, 2 construction equipment rental companies, and 3 concrete batch plants. So again, if you're just a contractor there for the day working on one little project and you need something, there's going to be a Lowe's right there on site. You don't have to leave. So I like this idea of self-contained. We're going to do it all. And we're going to get a new electric truck from Ford. If they're going to start producing it in 2025, we should hopefully see it by 2024. That's usually how this works.
Now, I mean, we did talk a few weeks ago about Ranger and the potential electrification of Ranger and the was it the copywriting of the Thunder?
Right. Yeah.
So,
Ford F1 or Ford Ranger Thunder.
So let's just speculate here for a second. T3 is this project they've announced. T3 is not going to be Thunder. So, in theory, Toyota. Sorry, I was reading Toyota on the screen.
No, it's okay.
In theory, Ford is now working on 3. We have Lightning. We have potentially something called Thunder.
Right.
And now T3.
Right.
So they're going 3 truck models.
Well, yeah, and I do wonder, it was funny you say that. I think this will replace Lightning. I think. I don't imagine that this would be like you can get a Lightning, a T3, or maybe something else. But maybe they will. I don't know that for a fact, right? I hadn't thought about it.
Lightning is it's a stepping stone product, right? So you're this new product. We're not talking about seeing it till next year. We're not talking about getting one, in the flesh for 2 years. So that means now Lightning will have been on sale for 3 to 4.
Yeah.
With very little, besides the underpinnings, very little changes to the sheet metal.
Yeah.
So it's a stepstone product. People saw it. They've seen them on the road. They've had a chance to ride in one, drive one, read about them. Now we go with something that's more, this is an electric truck, not just your old F-150 with an electric motor.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So maybe they could. And then my only question would be, would there be enough capability difference and size difference? You'd think one would be a little smaller or bigger, you know what I mean? But I'm not sure.
I like that comment, Liam. Ford, Lightning, Thunder, and Mjolnir. That made me laugh.
So yeah, that's Ford's T3 project. And of course, when we get more information, we'll share it. But
looking forward to more information.
Yeah, more electric stuff. The thing I'll also talk about while we're talking electric trucks is we're going to have some news coming soon on the Ram. You guys may remember we showed you that Ram Rev, but Ram really only showed us the truck. They didn't give us many details. Well, we're going to have details soon. Within the next week or two, we'll be able to share some numbers. So that's exciting too.
The numbers are exciting.
Yeah, because we can have some actual concrete numbers on that truck rather than just speculating and looking at the silly third row.
We have confirmed that the third row is dead. It was just a concept thing. If they had brought that to market, I don't know.
Maybe one day, who knows? Okay,
Make a drop-in third row in your bed or something. And order it as an accessory.
So we can move on to our final piece of news. Which is also pretty exciting. I just want to make sure, sorry guys, that we're not just showing you guys a Jeep right now. Can you actually see us, or do you just see a Jeep? Okay, we're fine.
I can see us.
My computer's...
Your screen's having a time.
Strange, man. So strange. Okay, anyways, moving on. The last piece of news, Matt, is very simple to share. It's just that the Chevy Silverado is bringing the 3-liter diesel to the ZR2.
Woo!
Which is great. At launch, you couldn't get a diesel ZR2. But now they're going to offer it. So many people complained about it and asked for it that, we're going to get it. And I think that's good news. The eco diesel is going away, so that leaves us with only one diesel half-ton. And even when the diesels were all here, that inline six is so good in the GMs. It's by far the best diesel. I think it was always the best diesel from the day it came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's exciting that that's coming out. Now, there was a couple other things that Chevy revealed for the 2024 Silverado. Not huge news, but we might as well go over it. First of all, the new 2.7, which is not new actually, the turbocharged 2.7, it's still there. Now, though, they're going to call it the Turbo Max. So if you go for the base engine, it's the Turbo Max.
Okay.
What else? There's a new active exhaust coming for the 6.2-liter V8.
Ooh, that already sounds good.
It already sounds good.
See what that sounds like.
But because it's active now, you can actually go in and hit a button, so you can go from normal, tow haul, or sport mode.
Ooh,
so always fun.
Self-baffle. Okay.
Yeah, always fun. And then lastly, they're bringing out a black appearance package. I didn't even know they got rid of it, maybe just for the one model year. But they say it's back. It's going to be on custom Trail Boss, RST, LT Trail Boss, and ZR2, and High Country with the Midnight Edition.
So could you get like a Silverado Denali Ultimate Black Edition Trail Boss? ZR2? I don't even... Sometimes I'm always just curious about how many more packages I could build onto a truck now.
Yeah, no, lots of packages. But yeah, sorry, so the big headline there was 3-liter diesel in the ZR2. I mean, we love the ZR2. That's a great truck.
It was our truck of the year, no less.
It absolutely was. And one of the reasons for that, Matt, is because it tows so well. It's an all-arounder. Unlike a Raptor or a TRX, which are so focused on their mission of owning the desert, the ZR2 is just so livable. Like I said, it tows really well with the trailer, hauls payload good, drives normally down the road. And then when you beat on it, it's pretty soft off-road. It accepts the bumps and the whoops fairly well. So, yeah, big fans of the ZR2 over here, and happy that it's getting the diesel, and still a little bit sad that the diesel left from the Colorado. So yeah, that was our big. Those were our big news items for this week, Matt. So I see you guys are dropping in a bunch of questions, but go ahead and keep them coming. We'll do our best to answer them.
Okay.
Let me quickly just peel off and talk about what we've been up to and what we're going to be doing soon.
We'll talk about that one. Okay.
So I mentioned I have a Wrangler 4xe today. I used it to return a Yamaha Venom snowmobile. So we shot a video with that thing. It's not a review, actually. We're going to look at best entry-level snowmobiles and just kind of using the Venom as our starting point.
Well, we have a review on the Venom.
Also true.
If you go into our content and scroll and scroll and scroll to not last winter,
2 winters
the winter
ago.
before,
Right.
we have a full review on the Venom. It's unchanged. A couple of different colors and graphics, I think. But
yeah.
Platform-wise, engine-wise, it's unchanged this year.
Yep, so we got a snowmobile video coming up, and then I used the Jeep to return the sled and pick up a brand new Yamaha Grizzly, which has a whole bunch of accessories on it, which look really cool, which I'm excited about. And if you guys don't know, we have another channel called TK Power Sports. If you haven't been over there, please go check out TK Power Sports. As the name suggests, we do ATVs, side-by-sides, PWCs, basically anything that goes off-road that isn't a dirt bike, because I don't get along with 2 wheels.
No, and actually, to that point,
Yep.
I mean, I think we can talk about it now. It hasn't happened yet, but the Mr. The Jarmel, first of all, thank you for commenting on everything. We appreciate you. Mm-hmm. Secondly, he asked, are there any plans for any RV trips this summer? A little while back, and what else are we doing with RVs on the channel?
Yeah, so we are actually, as you may again know, we had started TK Power Sports and RVs. We've already realized that there's enough space for those things to exist separately, so we're going to split RVs off into a third channel. The empire is growing. It's going to be RVs by Truck King, and yeah, we're just going to focus in on RVs on that channel. So this way, if you only like RVs, go follow that. If you only like Power Sports, follow TK Power Sports. You only like trucks, follow Truck King. If you like it all, follow it all.
Yeah.
We wanted to split it off and make it easy for you guys.
And in answer to your question, we would love to organize something like that. Try and get a couple of units with a couple of trucks, pack all the kids in, and even bring mom and dad, I guess, and go for a trip. That'd be great.
Totally. Or a big overlanding trip is something we've had our eyes on for a while. Get a couple new trucks, get some new overland trailers, and try that out. So no, it's all on the radar. But yeah, the most important news from us is the new channel.
Coming soon.
Yeah, there's no actual videos on the RV channel yet. We're going to try to launch it with a whole bunch of stuff. So keep your ears open on Truck King, and you'll see some news about that.
Alrighty. Well, there's lots of stuff in here, but
sure.
Aaron brought up something about a 1930s Ford created a car made from hemp and powered by hemp oil.
Nice.
And I read it and I kind of went, yeah, right, okay, whatever, man. But then I Googled it, and it exists. They made it in 1941 out of a bioplastic made of hemp, flax, wheat, and spruce pulp, which made the car lighter than fiberglass and 10 times stronger than steel, wrote the New York Times in 1941. It existed. Whoa. They made a biodegradable car. Ford made a biodegradable car. Ford's an interesting company. They also had a fleet of fully electric trucks running around in their Rouge River plant in Michigan in the teens, pre-World War I. The only reason they disbanded that program was because of World War I. Just super, super interesting.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, I imagine cellulose and hemp panels would start to rot.
That'd be a problem eventually.
You'd have a soggy car at a certain point, maybe.
It just makes me think of the first Cheech and Chong movie where they're driving the hemp bus.
When the exhaust lights it on fire and everybody going down the highway is having a good time.
Yeah, I know it's not the same thing, but that's all I can think about.
Yeah. And sorry, I read it and I was like, no, that's not real, but it was real. So a little bit of history. Thank you for that one.
Yeah. I'll tackle the question now because I saw it earlier too from Liam. Thanks for the question. Will the new Tacoma be a ground-up redesign, or will they keep the old frame like the new Frontier? You're right about that one. No, so it's not a ground-up redesign. They're moving it to TNGAF. And actually, call this a mistake if you want, but Toyota has decided that it only wants one body-on-frame platform. So TNGAF now underpins Land Cruiser, Tundra, Sequoia, LX600, I believe. And now they're going to move Tacoma to it, and then they're going to move 4Runner to it. So it's going to be at least 6, if not more, vehicles around the world, all on the same platform. Now, these are modular platforms, which basically means they can take that frame and they can shorten it, they can make it longer, but essentially it's going to share a lot of the same dimensions as all those other vehicles. So here's the thing with the Tundra. The Tundra, I actually felt at the end of the day like it was a little bit, I don't want to say neutered, that might be too strong, but the engineers had to work with that frame. That wouldn't have been their first choice, is to take that fully boxed frame, remember, as well, super stiff kind of SUV frame, and use it for the truck. That's one of the reasons why I think we ended up with the suspension in the Tundra that we did, is because the frame got so much stiffer than the old open C Tundra frames. So I don't want to say it's going to be a bad thing for the Tacoma. Maybe in the smaller vehicle it'll be easier, but that's Toyota's thinking right now, is just one platform, all body on frame vehicles. So that's why I mentioned it does give them the chance to redesign the seating position, because it's moving to a new frame. It will not be the same frame as it is today, but it also isn't ground up, so to speak, right? So hopefully that answers you, and that's good though. Yarmel, Tacoma will still grow in size then? I guess I don't know for sure. The point of the platform is that it doesn't have to grow in size, right? They can shrink it down. But I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, I guess. I don't really have info on whether it's getting bigger or not. Yeah. I hope it doesn't get bigger, although mid-sized trucks are big enough.
And forgive me if I butcher this one, but Bujita? I don't know if that J is silent like jalapeno or not. He asks, EV batteries, cars being written off because the batteries can't be repaired after collisions, just need total replacements. A lot of manufacturers do build and have built EV batteries that can be replaced in blocks, in chunks, in pieces. Now, for example, I'm just using current knowledge, stuff that I work on every day. In the case of an Ioniq 5 from Hyundai, if you were to damage the case, you would need to replace the case, potentially some stuff inside, but there are so many individual components in there that can be swapped. I actually recently had to change a battery management system ECU on a hybrid car because the ECU had an issue with it. But you drop the battery, split the case, find the module, replace the module, put it all back together, put it back in the car. So it didn't necessarily need a whole battery. So in the case of certain manufacturers, I know Toyota with the Priuses, when I worked there, we could rebuild them. Priuses. It's like geeses and gooses. You could take them apart, replace individual cells. And I know currently at Hyundai, they are developing a course to teach technicians how to rebuild the batteries, which is really cool. There are 8 stacks of X number of plates inside, and you can actually take them apart, test them individually, replace the bad ones, order them individually. I even priced out the guts on one at one point. If you just needed to replace cells, not the case, not the ECUs, not any of the other major electrical components in there, you were only looking at about $5K, which is not only, it's still expensive, but I mean, it's the cost of a motor if you had to put a motor in a car. So not too bad versus the 18,000 with the case, with the computers, with the PRA, with the wiring.
Yeah, of course.
But
well, and that's sort of maybe his point too, is that because that can become so expensive so quick, the insurance company just says right off. Right?
Exactly.
So much.
And there are, and it's interesting. We're early still, but we're in a market where we're gonna create jobs the same way that you've got your Mr. Transmissions and your different performance shops that will do engine jobs. You're going to start to see battery shops. You're going to start to see Bob's Batteries and EVs. And you're going to be able to take your whatever EV you have, drop it off at Bob's, and he'll tear it down, tell you, oh, of 90 cells in your battery, we need to replace 32. We need to clean up these contacts, put it all back together. It's going to cost, I don't know, $2,000, right? These shops are going to come apart.
Sure.
They're going to start showing up because the market grows. So everybody's fear of, I got to go to the dealer. Oh, it's going to cost me so much. It will diminish with time.
Yeah, that makes total sense too. The only other fear with EVs is if any of them get kind of locked up. I know a lot of the manufacturers are being very protective right now over their ECUs and what you are allowed and not allowed to work on yourself. So, and then that's not just an EV problem either, actually. I shouldn't say that. But
just cars in general,
yeah. It seems like it could be an EV problem.
It's a problem for us, for the guys that repair them every day.
Yeah.
In that same instance where I replaced that computer, Hyundai's service information locked me out. I got to the point where I had my fault. I had a clear path as to what I was doing, but then it says, stop here, contact us.
Huh.
You can't touch this.
Even Hyundai.
They didn't let me touch it, and I'm the guy that's supposed to fix it. But no, even they want you to contact them. They will tell you what part to put in it.
Yeah. That's funny. It's even like, what it makes me think of is we drove that Winnebago ERV2. It's a small electric Winnebago B-Class van.
Yeah.
It was based on the Ford E-Transit. And of course, our first question is, well, does the RV stuff run off of the Transit's battery? And they said no. Winnebago put in its own battery array because Ford would not allow Winnebago access to their battery.
To modify it.
Yeah, so they wouldn't give them whatever they needed to go in and use their battery for their own stuff. So Winnebago had to install a second array, which seems very wasteful.
It would be a PR nightmare.
Yeah.
Because Winnebago would add one line to power their stuff. All of a sudden, these batteries start burning down.
Sure, or
and
the range sucks.
And it would be Ford's. It would be Ford's problem to deal with. So
yeah, but again, it's definitely interesting for sure.
Will the hemp truck be rodent proof? Rodents eat soy-based wiring a lot. I make a lot of money because of soy-based wiring.
Can we just talk about that real quick? Actually,
your sled. So I'll bet you.
So my Skidoo got some mice into it this past summer. Although it was stored outside, just well tarped up, so that kind of negates it. It could have been that. But Toyotas, I knew about. So Matthew's known about this for a while. He used to work at a Toyota dealership, and they used to get all the people coming in with the mice chewing the wiring.
Yep.
And then I actually just met a guy with an F-150, and he said that the dealership told him the same thing, that the wiring was soy-based, and I didn't know that was a thing in Fords. I didn't confirm it myself, so I'm just going off hearsay here.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. And it just seems like, haven't they figured that out by now, that they shouldn't be using it? Or is it that much cheaper that they don't care? Because none of these are recalls, right? They basically throw their hands up and say, that's an act of God. We can't control what a mouse does. But then they won't change their soy-based wiring. And now my brain right away is like, how many companies are using this stuff?
I think I would have to say it's probably cost. Maybe,
must be cost.
Maybe we'll dig into this one night and we'll do a whole expose.
It must be cost.
It's got to be cost. I imagine soy products are used largely in food or in fuel production, plastics productions. So it's got to be cost that people continue to use them. Toyota, Honda actually famously, we would get Accords were one of the worst. They'd come in with a complaint of no power steering because the two main feed lines for the external EPS motor would get all eaten up. That one we did a lot of, and then now...
And those are electrical lines, or those are power steering fluid?
No, those are electrical.
Okay, just electrical.
EPS, electronic power steering.
Got it.
They would chew up the two main feed lines on the outside. They'd also get a hell of a shock. So that rodent was brave. But yeah, it's happened. I mean, heck, I had a Corolla recently. All the wiring in the bottom of the junction block got chewed up. It's like he moved in and was like, buffet at his fingertips.
And it is tough because I'm sure, mice just want to move in there and find a warm spot and make a nest. So you can't totally blame the manufacturers. But when I heard him say that, I never heard that of F-150s before. So I was just surprised to hear it. Now I want to know how widespread is this issue.
And as far as warranty support goes, no. The short answer is, that we can't. I'm not defending the manufacturers, but they can't predict or plan on a mouse getting into your equipment. No. And I mean, it happens to some people. It doesn't happen to others. I had one poor lady when I was living in Milton, Ontario, and she lived on a little farm outside of Milton. She came in 3 times for different wiring chew issues. And but the second time around, I said to her, "Where do you park? Where do you live?" Well, she parks in a small barn that is attached to her hayloft that is full of mice. Yeah. And she pulls her nice warm car in there in the middle of winter, parks it, goes in the house. The hay bale's full of thousands of rodents. You can do the math.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you can only do so much about it, right?
Yep.
Well, what else we got going on? I see the one question there just about dealers not having mid-size trucks from BC Island Life. For example, it's hard to find a Ford Ranger. Specifically, we've heard that about Rangers, man. I know when I did my sales post on 2022, the Ranger was significantly down in sales. And the truth of that wasn't that people didn't want to buy Rangers. They decided to build more Broncos. Ranger and Bronco are built at the same spot, and they just decided, hey, right now we're going to go hard on Broncos and cut back Ranger production. So I know for a fact Ranger was being throttled. Production was being rolled back. And then I think the microchip shortage, we keep blaming it, but I feel like you just have to. There's just, it just made demand that crazy.
It was just a backlog.
There was no supply. So, I feel as though dealerships are getting back to normal. You can maybe speak more to it.
We're starting to see more supply. We're starting to see more used car.
Each product's a little different too, right?
Because of the insanity of, say, a year and a half ago, you're also starting to run into issues where people panic bought new cars or they overpaid for a used car because they needed something and they had no options. So now we're getting into people that have 6-7-year-old used cars that are so upside down in these things that they can't afford to get out of them.
That's crazy.
It's kind of like the subprime mortgage crisis.
Totally.
But for vehicles, it's nuts.
Huh.
But we are getting caught up now. The market's still hot. Used cars are still going insane because of, what's going on with new car. Like most of the stuff that comes in for us, we've got a couple on the lot. They don't last. But everything that comes in is pretty much spoken for, pre-orders. We'll get there. We'll catch up eventually.
Yeah.
And then it all depends on the brand. I drive by a pretty large Ford store just up the street from us, and they've got wall-to-wall Broncos and Bronco Sports and F-150s all just sitting there for sale.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of them. I don't know what's going on over there. But over here on the Hyundai lot, we can't keep a car for a week.
Huh.
They land. We had 4 land today. One of them goes tomorrow. The other 2 will be gone by Saturday.
Yeah,
or
crazy.
3 rather. Liam asked what you can do for rodents eating wires. The only thing I've ever come up with, and it's one of these weird things, it's when it happens, because you don't know where it's going to happen on the car. You don't know what's the accessible point. I have a couple of common ones I can tell you, but like I did on your sled, I paint the crap out of the new wires, once they're already destroyed, with the most inedible, horrible chemical thing that I can think of. So on yours, I think I did silicone, was it silicone brake lube? It was silicone-based brake lube that I painted all over those wires. It's not going to harm the casing, it's not going to harm the wire, but nothing's going to want to eat it. Because you're going to have to eat through that to get to the wire. So maybe a nibble or two, and they go, this is not worth the effort. A lot of people, do the whole mothballs or dryer sheets. Mice don't like noise, and they don't like light either. It's certainly something for nesting. For me, it sounds really weird, but I've got a crappy old radio, and I leave it running all year round in my garage at an average decibel level so that the mice think that there's someone in the garage all the time. They never come out. I put my sled in the middle, and they never come out. I haven't had an issue. I've got mice in my garage. I've killed a few.
When I made the video about my snowmobile, one of the most overwhelming comments, Matt, and this is actually kind of the opposite of what you're talking about, was peppermint. And I did not confirm this myself, but everyone said peppermint spray, that mice hate peppermint, so you can buy a spray that on your wiring, and then your engine will smell delicious, and it will scare the mice. But that would be my fear too, is that they would like the smell and they'd come and find it. But anyways, the internet told me peppermint, so that would be a little nicer to smell and work with.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Well,
we're 8 o'clock and talking about, a couple of YouTubers have kind of started jumping on the whole battery rebuild trend, like I said.
Sure.
It's coming.
Total sense.
Like I said, you're going to have your Mr. Transmission, your Jiffy Lube, and your, battery...
Mr. Battery.
Battery Depot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something catchy, I'm sure.
Yeah, refurb your battery quick or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Yeah, it makes sense. I think that's just about it. As always, guys, you can reach out to us on the channel, in the comments, or you can email us at hey@truckking.ca. That's HEY@truckking.ca. We'll do our best to get you those answers. I guess watch out for what we're doing on April 4th, because it sounds like maybe we're covering a Tacoma debut.
Yes,
we don't even know yet.
Something related to Tacoma.
But next Tuesday, we should have some kind of Tacoma news. Soon after that, we'll have some more news on that Ram. And then, the one thing I hadn't mentioned, you may have seen Matthew and I just did a mid-size crossover comparison, Volkswagen Tiguan versus Honda CR-V. That's already up on the channel. And then we just finished up a large crossover comparison, Toyota Highlander versus Subaru Ascent. And we specifically did an all-wheel drive comparo of Toyota's Torque Vectoring all-wheel drive versus Subaru's Symmetrical. So, that'll be exciting too. So, lots of cool stuff coming to the channel.
Yeah, so Wrangler 4xe this week. Next week the trucks I can't afford?
Next week we got crazy expensive top trim trucks coming, which is what we normally have, but these ones are even wilder. So.
Yeah, we checked every box possible just to see how expensive they could be.
Absolutely. So we got new trucks coming too, and maybe we should also mention that finally here in Southern Ontario, the snow is almost gone. So for us, we haven't been off-road all winter because we can't go off-road all winter on our trails. So watch out for some off-road videos coming really soon. Yep. We're going to take some stuff and sink it in the mud as quickly as we can. And actually, the next couple of weeks is specifically some of the gnarliest off-roading on our property because the ground is so soft and there's so much water. We'll have to get something stuck up there.
Yeah, we'll get something. We got something we can run up there.
Yeah, the Grizzly. We got a Honda Pilot Trail Sport.
That one, everybody in the passport video, everybody wants to know about that one. So maybe we'll take that one to the mud. We can run the... We're going to be doing the Honda CR-V hybrid versus the RAV4 Prime hybrid.
That one
take those up the hydro line.
That wouldn't work well. Okay, guys. I think that's it for now. Hopefully we'll be back in 2 weeks. And the next live show, we should have Dad back with us. And he'll be able to tell us all about his big RV trip down to the southern U.S. and how his truck handled and his hitch and lots to talk about.
Yeah, that. Liam did ask about matching up trucks and RVs. And yes, my dad will talk all about that. Yeah. That video is... Those comment sections are interesting,
for sure.
Say the least.
We have personal experience. We'll talk about Dad's truck. But in general, we'll always talk about which tow vehicle is right for which trailer. It's important to get there. Right? Folks, there you go. Why don't you go have yourself a great Thursday night.
Thanks for watching.
See ya.